Students, in this video lecture we will be discussing module 4 from C programming for problem solving. Myself Shilpa Shetty, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Science and Engineering, AJIIT, Mangalore. So in the fourth module we will be discussing mainly two topics, that is user defined functions and recursions. So this is the first session from the fourth modules, and in this session we will be discussing related to writing a user defined function. So we will be discussing what is a function, how to write a function, which are the different parts of a function, then based on location where the function can be written, etc. So first let us begin with the definition of the function. A function is a group of statements that performs a particular task. If you write a set of statements that performs a particular task, then it is called as a function. See, function can be of two categories. One is the built-in function or library function. The second one is user-defined function. So the functions in C, it can be categorized into two ways. Either it is user-defined function or library function, and library functions are also called as built-in function. So let us begin with the library function or built-in function. So it is built-in function or library function which is provided by the C compiler. User is not required to write that function. For example, printf, scanf. So in every program that we have discussed so far, we have written at least one printf or scanf statement. Now these functions are directly invoked by us. We have not defined the function. Defining in the sense what the function has to do. It is not told by us. Instead, we know that whenever we use the printf statement, whatever we send as parameter to this function, it gets printed on the screen. Similarly, scanf is used to read a value from the value given as input by the user. So these two functions are not defined by us. This is already defined in the stdio.h header file by the developer. So this is called as such functions are called as built-in functions, or we also call them as library functions. So whenever we use any built-in function or library function, we need to first know in which header file it is defined, and that header file has to be included in the program, and only then we can call those functions. The second category of function is user-defined function. So user-defined function means it is a function that is written by the user. So we also can write a function and define it. That means, for example, say we have to perform a particular task, something, so we can express that task in the form of programming statement. So that will be nothing but a function. So such functions that are written by the user are called as user-defined functions. So in this module, basically we will be discussing user-defined function. That means how we can write function. So before going to user-defined function, so let us see which are the different types of programming we have. See, C programs can be written in two ways. So the first one is without using user-defined function, or it is also called as unstructured programming. See, when you don't use any user-defined function in your programming, such a programming concept is called as unstructured programming. And the second one is using user-defined function, which is also called as structured programming. So either you can use the functions or you may not use the functions. So when you use the functions, your program will be called as structured programming. When you do not use any user-defined function, it is called as unstructured programming. So the programs that we have studied till now is unstructured programs, because the entire logic was written in one function, which is the main function. So far whatever program we have discussed, we have not written any separate user-defined function. So all the programs that we have discussed so far is unstructured program. So basically, if your program is more structured, then it is very easier for you to compile it or debug it. So let us see how to write the user-defined function. So Disadvantages of unstructured programming. So when you don't use user-defined functions in your program, let us see what are the disadvantages faced by the user. The first disadvantage is difficult to read and understand, difficult to debug or identify errors, difficult to test the program, difficult to modify the program. So these are the different disadvantages. Now why these disadvantages? Because when you write an unstructured program, your entire program, however lengthy it is all written inside one function, that is your main function. So the length of the main function goes on increasing, so it becomes difficult for you to understand the program. So when the length of the program is very big, it's obviously difficult to read and understand, and whenever there is an error again it is very difficult to identify that error or debug that error. Similarly, to test the program also it will be very difficult, because everything is in one place. You will not know which is correct, which is wrong. Similarly, it will be difficult to modify the program. See, sometimes when you modify one line, it might affect the remaining parts of the program. So these are the different issues that are faced by unstructured programming, and that's why we go for structured programming, where we define user-defined functions in our program. So here is an example of an unstructured C program to add two numbers without using user-defined functions. So whenever we say unstructured, it means we are not using any user-defined functions. So here let us discuss a function to add two numbers. So hash include stdio.h. So now you know why we use hash include stdio.h, because we are using printf and scanf function, which are built-in function provided by the C compiler, and these functions are defined inside stdio.h. So we need to include these two, this header file. So void main indicates the beginning of the execution of the program. Int a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, sum. So in this program we have two integers a and b. We are going to find their sum and store it in the variable sum. So altogether we need three variables, and a has been initialized to 10, b has been initialized to 20. So what is initialization? When you write the program, if you assign the value to the variables, then it is called as initialization. During declaration, if you assign value to a variable, then it is called as initialization. And sum is the variable in which you will store the result, and it is not initialized because sum is sum of a and b, which has to be calculated by you. So now let us find what is sum. So sum is equal to a plus b. Then printf sum is equal to %d \n. So whatever sum we computed, we are displaying the sum. So sum is equal to %d, because sum is declared as integer. So %d is the format specifier for integer, sum. So then let us, if you execute this program, the output would be sum is equal to 30. So this kind of program is called as unstructured program. But in this program you may not find so much of difficulties or disadvantages, because this is such a very small program. But whenever whatever disadvantages we have discussed, that is basically found out when you write a large unstructured program. So here is an example of structured C programming to add two numbers using user-defined function. So when we say structured programming, we use user-defined function. So now let us see how the previous add program can be written using functions. So if you observe this program, the length of the program may appear a little larger compared to the previous one. That is basically because the program is very small. In small programs, it is advised to write structured program, but when the length of the program increases, you will realize that writing a structured program will be beneficial for you. So here is a simple program that we have. So first let us discuss a few lines here. So let us see first, discuss the lines that are similar to the previous one. So here we have hash include stdio.h, which is the header file, because we included printf and scanf functions. So these few lines let us skip for time being. So now let us start with void main here. So void main, then we have int a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, and sum. This is already discussed. Two variables a comma b initialized to 10 and 20, and the sum variable is declared to store the result. So in the next statement we have written sum is equal to add a comma b. Earlier in the previous program we wrote sum is equal to a plus b. When you write sum is equal to a plus b, the value of a and b get added up and they are stored in sum. But however, if you observe here, the syntax is little different. We have sum equal to add a comma b. So this is quite different. Add, where add is written. So this line, whatever we have written, so this line here, whatever we have written, that is sum is equal to add a comma b, this is called as function call. So it means that there is a function called add that is defined by us. How do we know it is defined by us? Because add is not a built-in function, so obviously it has to be defined by user. So there is a function called add to which two parameters a and b are passed. That means in order for the add function to execute, it requires some data. That data has to be passed inside parentheses. So in simple words, it's like this. If you have to find if you have to find the sum, then we need two integer variables whose sum has to be found out. That is nothing but a and b in our case. So that a and b should be passed as parameter. Parameter means something like data to the function. So it's simple words, it's like asking a question. If you're asking a question, you need to provide a data, right? For example, what is the sum of 10 and 20? So what is the sum is my question. In order to answer that, I need to know the numbers whose sum has to be found out. That is 10 and 20. So those are nothing but data which you call as parameters or arguments with respect to function. So this is the function call. So let us see what happens when you call this function. That means what happens when you write sum is equal to add of a comma b. So when this statement is seen by the compiler will search where the function is defined, and the function is defined here. This portion is the definition of the function. So what it says, the definition is like this: int add int a comma int b. So inside that we have defined the function. So what is it int add? The first int indicates the return type. Return type means what type of answer the function is giving. For example, if I ask you what is the sum of 5 and 10, your answer will be 15. And what is the type of 15? 15 is an integer, right? So the type of value, not the exact value, but what type of value is written, that is nothing but that data type is written at the beginning, so which is called as a return type. So then following that we will discuss more about this in a shorter time. So let me briefly tell you here. Following that we have add. Add is nothing but the name of the function. So first one is return type. What type of value the function is returning? Is the function returning integer? Is the function returning a character? Is it returning a string, etc.? So that particular data type has to be written. Then following that we have name of the function, and within bracket we need to write the data that is required by the function to execute along with its data type. So we know that in order for the add function to execute, we need two integers. So that their name can be anything here. We can give any name for those two integers. But here, if you see, we have given the same name as how we have sent. When we have sent the values of a and b. So the same thing has been written here. But we know that a and b are to be integers. So we write int a, comma, int b. So that means when you define the function, you need to specify the data type of the parameter. When I say parameter, it means the data that is required to execute the function. So we need to write the data type of the parameter followed by name of the parameter. So we have two parameters here, int a, comma, int b. So following that, within pair of braces, we need to define the function. So here we have defined like this, int sum. So because we are finding sum, we need a variable called sum in which we will store the value. So we have written like this, int sum, then we will calculate the sum. Sum is equal to a plus b. So what happens? A and b are 10 and 20. So 10 plus 20 gets added up and the result is 30, and that gets stored in sum. So once we have found out the sum, our task is done, because our user defined function we have written, the add function that we have written, its purpose was to find the sum, and it has found out the sum now. Once it is found out, we can return the answer. For example, see, when I ask you a question, what is the sum of 10 and 20? First you will calculate 10 plus 20. So that is, you know that 10 plus 20 is 30. The minute you find out that the answer, you will reply me back, ma'am, the answer is 30. So the same way here, once the answer is calculated, the answer has to be given back to the one who has asked the question. That means whoever has called the function, to that part we need to give the answer. Giving the answer is called as returning the answer. If you have to return the answer, we need to write the return statement followed by the name of the variable in which the answer is stored. So we have written here return sum. That means the answer from this function is sum, which is nothing but the addition sum of adding two numbers, which is stored in the variable sum. So we write this statement return sum. So when you write return sum, what happens? The answer that is calculated, the sum value will be returned here. Here means where the function was called. The function was called here. So here it will be written. How it will be written? Now this is nothing but add of a comma b. This portion is there, no? Add of a comma b. Its answer is basically the sum, and that will get stored in this variable sum. The question is like add of a comma b, whose answer was written in the variable sum, and that will get copied to the variable sum. It's like when you write sum is equal to a plus b. A plus b will get added up and it is stored in sum. But now you have written sum is equal to add a comma b. So a plus b are added in the function and the result is returned in sum, which will get stored in this variable sum. So what happens, what do you observe here is when the program encounters add a comma b, the control will come to the definition of the function. Then the function will execute, that is this statement will get executed. So once all the statements of the function gets executed, again the control will come here, and then the remaining statements after the function call will get executed in a sequence order. So that is why this program has a particular structure. So once the result is stored, now we can display the sum. We write printf sum is equal to %d\n sum. So we will display the result. So that is this program. Now in this program there are three important parts to discuss. The first one is this line, that is sum is equal to add of a comma b. In this line we are calling the function, so this is called as, this statement is called as function call. So this is the function call, means you are calling the function. So once this function is called, you know that the function will be executed. That means the control will come to this line, that is the function definition, and that is called as function definition. Function definition means what the function is performing. The task performed by the function is defined in a step by step, and that is function definition. The one more part that we have is function declaration. That is nothing but just above the function definition we have one line which is same as the function definition's first line. So that is function declaration. Function declaration means as like a normal variable. See, whenever you have to use a variable called sum, you need to declare it, right? If you have to use variable a and b, again we need to declare it. Any variable that we use has to be declared. So the same thing applies for function. Whenever you write the function, if you have to use that function, you need to declare that function. So that is called as functional declaration, and the function declaration is same as the first line of the function followed by semicolon. So what is the first line of the function definition here? Int add int a comma int b. So the same thing should be written before the function definition. We know, no, like whenever we have to use any variable, we need to declare it and then use, not using and then declaring. So same way here, if you are using a function, it has to be declared before it is used. So it is same as the function definition's first line, which is called as the header line, but it should end with the semicolon. So this is very important here. There is a semicolon here. So here there is a semicolon in the function declaration, whereas here there is no semicolon. In function definition there is no semicolon. So this is how we can write a structured C programming, that using functions for adding to numbers. So next let us discuss the various elements of a user defined function. Briefly, we have already discussed all these elements. The three elements of a user defined function is the function definition, function call and function declaration. So we already know what is function definition. Function definition means the task that has to be performed by the function, that is function definition. Then function call is when you call the function, when you invoke the function by writing the name of the function and passing the parameters. And function declaration is before defining the function, you need to declare the function. So it is same as the definition of the function, that is the first line from the definition of the function followed by a semicolon. So function definition, it is the actual code for the definition for the function to perform the specific task. It provides the actual body of the function and contains executable code or executable statements. So what the function has to perform, so that is its code is nothing but function definition. The first line is called as a header. So function definition's first line is called as header. The header should be identical to the function prototype with the exception of the semicolon. So the header should be identical to function prototype. Function prototype means function declaration. So we already know that function declaration and the function definition first line are same, except that in function declaration we will put the semicolon, whereas in function definition there is no semicolon. Argument or parameter names have to be specified here with its data type. So argument or parameter, it is nothing but the data that is required by the function to execute. So these have to be specified along with their data type in the function definition. So now let us see the syntax for function definition. So here is in the first table, here we have the syntax for the function definition. So first we write the return type here. So here we have the return type, student. Return type, as we discussed, it is nothing but the type of value the function is returning. So I told you what type of answer the function is giving. For example, what is the sum of 10 and 20? The answer is 30. It's an integer. Which college you are studying in? You are studying AJIET. So it's a string. Which section? C section. So it's a character. Right? So what was your percentage in 10th standard? Say 90.17, which is floating point. That means depending on the question, the type of the answer is different. So what type of answer your function is returning, that is nothing but the return type of the function. Followed by name of the function. Every function should have a name. So that function name is written here. And within parentheses are nothing but round brackets. We will write the parameter list, that is the set of data that is required by the function along with its data type. So once you write the header of the function, and remember the header of the function should not end with the semicolon. There should not be any semicolon in the function definition. Then we define the function. So again, the function definition, the statements are written in a similar manner to how you write the main function. So first you have to go for the local variable declaration. If any variable has to be used inside the function, that has to be declared. For example, when you're finding sum of two numbers, to store the result, we need a variable. So that has to be defined. So that is local variable declaration. Following that, we write the statements of the function. So we can write n number of statements inside the function. There is no limit. So once we have executed the function, we need to return the answer. So that is nothing but called as a return statement. To write the return statement, we write the name, that is keyword return, followed by name of the variable in which the answer is stored. So return is basically returning the value, that is giving the answer, reply. So return statement with which the function will end. And whatever variable you write following return, its data type should be same as this, the return type. Because suppose if you write return C, and here if you write int, then C should be an integer. This and this, the data type has to be same, because whatever you written, its return type you have written here, so they have to be same. So now let us see an example for function definition. This is same, the add function which we have already discussed. So first we write the return type. It means add function result is in the form of an integer, followed by name of the function. Then we have the set of parameters. Here we have two parameters, a and b. So we need to write the data type along with the parameter name. So int a, int b, because both are integers. Following that, we need to open a curly brace. Then we need to write the statements of the function. So the first one would be initially you will be writing any declarations. So we have only one declaration of a variable called sum. So we write int sum. Then we find the sum. Sum is equal to a plus b, and then return the sum. So return sum. So once we perform all the tasks of the function, we need to return the result, and the result is stored in sum. So we write return sum. So here return is a keyword that is provided by C. So this is nothing but the definition of the function. So in the definition of the function, let us see the different parts. Now it is already known. The first one is return type. It is the data type of the value that is returned or sent from the function. Values data type is the return type. Following that, we wrote the function name. So function name is the name that you give to the function. If you are adding two numbers, you can give the function name as add. If you are say dividing two numbers, you can give the function name as divide, likewise. So any name you can give. Suppose that you are finding, you have written a function to find average of two numbers, then you can name the function as average. So then we have the list of parameters. So it is a list containing the data type and name of the variable that has to be passed to the function. So then so this is about the function header. Then inside the function definition we will have local variable declaration, that is it declares the variables that are required by the function. So following that we will write all the statements that are part of the function. Once the function task is done, we need to return the value, so we write the return statement. So it returns the value to the calling function. Then so local variable declaration, return statement, in between the body of the function will come, and again these statements are part of the body of the function, that is any statement that you write inside the pair of curly braces, it is nothing but body of the function or the function body. So return type is a type of value that is returned by the function. If the function is not returning any value, see sometimes we ask the question and you don't have the answer, you will keep quiet. So if the function is not returning the values, such a answer can be taken as void. So we write the return type as void when the function does not return a value. And function name it is a unique name that identifies the function. All variable naming conversions are applicable for declaring valid function names. That means whenever we declare a variable, it has to follow the rules of identifier. We know that it should not start with a number, it should not have any special symbol other than underscore, etc. So all these rules have to be followed when you define a function. So all those naming conventions are applicable here also. So the next part is parameters, which we have already discussed. It's a comma separated list of types and names of parameters. Parameter injects external values into function on which function is going to operate. Parameter field is optional. If no parameter is passed, then no need to write this field. That means, see, sometimes for the function to execute, it may not require any data. So in such a case, we don't pass any parameter. So in that case, we did not mention the parameter name. Simply we will write a pair of opening and closing brace. So for example, what's your college name? It's AJIT. You don't require any data to find out the answer. So in such a case, you can simply write name of the parameters without any without passing any actual you can just write a pair of opening and closing parentheses. The next one is value. It is a value that is returned by the function upon termination. So once the function terminates, what value the function returns, that is nothing but the return value of the function. Function will not return value will not return a value if the return type is void. So sometimes the function may not return a value to the caller. Instead, there only the function might display the value or something like that. So in such a case, the function will not return any value. So the return type will be void. So the next part of the function is the function call. So function call, to use the function, it need to be called. The function has to be called. A function can be called by specifying its name followed by list of parameters enclosed in parentheses and separated by commas. So in order to call the function, we need to write name of the function followed by the set of parameters to be passed to the function inside parentheses. So the syntax is function name parameter list. For example, add a comma b. So in order to invoke the add function, we need to write name of the function add, and add function requires two parameters, a and b. So we write add a comma b. So when we pass the parameters in the function call, we did not mention the data type, only the parameter name. So this is the function call, add is the function name, and a and b are the parameters here. So the last part of the function to discuss is function declaration or function prototype. So to brief you about this, it's the header of the function, that is the first line of the function definition. It's nothing but the function declaration, but when you write it in the form of function declaration, you need to put a semicolon at the end. The function needs to be declared before calling the function. Function declaration consists of four parts: return type, function name, parameter list with the data types, terminating semicolon. The syntax is like this: return type, function name, parameter list with data type. So return type here may specify the type of the value the function is returning, followed by name of the function, and then we have the list of parameters along with the data type, followed by a semicolon. For example, the prototype for or the declaration for the add function will be int add, int a, int b, followed by semicolon. So the function declaration is not compulsory if the function definition is written before calling that function. So this we will discuss shortly. Sometimes the function declaration is not necessary. So here this figure just briefs you about the different parts of the function definition. So first we have int, it's the return type, followed by name of the function. Then we have parameter list, and the declaration int c, it is the local declaration. C is equal to a plus b, that's a part of the function statement of the function. And return c, it is the return statement, and the 3 lines inside the function, that is int c, c is equal to a plus b, return c. So these are nothing but the statements that constitute the body of the function. So here is a complete program to find sum of two numbers using function. So which we have already discussed. Hash include stdio.h, int add, int a, int b, that is the declaration, followed by semicolon, that's the function declaration. Then we have the function definition, int add, int a, int b, int sum, sum is equal to a plus b, return sum. So this is the body of the function or the function definition. Then we have the main function, void main, int a equal to 10, int b equal to 20, sum. Then we are calling the function. So function call sum is equal to a plus b. So whatever answer is written by the add function will be stored in sum here. Then we will print the result, that is sum is equal to %d sum. So this is the complete program of writing add function. So now let us discuss the location of the function. That means in the program where you have to define the function. So location of the function refers to the placement of the function definition with reference to the main function. With respect to main function, where you are placing the function definition, whether you are placing it before the main, or you are placing it after the main, or you are placing the function in a separate file. So that is nothing but location of the function. So basically there are two ways to place a function in the program. The first type is placing the function definition first, followed by the entire main program. That is what we have already discussed in the previous program, add program. What we have discussed, first the function definition, add function was defined first, after that we wrote the main function. So that category belongs to type 1, that is placing a function definition first, followed by the entire main program. In this case, defining or declaring the function prototype can be omitted. So remember, whenever you define the function before the main function, you need not write a separate declaration for that. If you write, it is fine, but if you do not write also, it is fine. So let us see an example. So this example is same as the previous one. So here function declaration is optional. So that the second line of the function, that is int add, int a, int b, semicolon. So that is the declaration. That is not required here because you have defined the function before the main. So when you define the function before the main, the function definition itself will act as a declaration. So separate declaration is not necessary. So if you look at this function, instead in the main we have taken the variable as return that sum to be stored in variable c. So we have int c, a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. So c is equal to a, add of a, b. So what happens here is the answer that is returned by the add function will be stored in c. So if you look at the add function, the value will be returned in the variable sum. So what happens, some value whatever it calculates. For example, if it calculates sum as 30, so then 30 will be returned as the answer, and that 30 will be stored in C. So what happens when the function is called here? So we have add a, b. It's like add a, b is nothing but 10, 20. So it's as good as writing add 10, 20. So when you pass 10 and 20 to the add function, that will get copied to the parameters of the function, that is here. So it will get copied over here in this portion, that is int a comma b. So a will get the first value that you pass, that is 10, and b will get the second value, that is you pass 20 in the form of a and b. So this a and b here and this a and b are separate a and b's. They are not same. This is just for your information. And one more thing is you have written the variable in sum, answer in sum, so that will get copied to C here. So this is the type 1 function where the definition of the function comes before the main function. The second type of function is type 2 function. So in this type, the body of the function, that is the function definition, are placed after the main program. So unlike the previous one where the definition of the function came before main, in type 2 the function definition will be placed after the main. So here one has to place the function prototype statement well before main program appearance in order to assess C compiler for type checking and function call location with respect to function definition. What it means is whenever you define the function after main, the function declaration is a must before main. But when you define the function before main, function declaration is optional. But if you define the function after main, then the function has to be declared before main. So let us see the same add example with how you can write it according to type 2. So if you look at the program now, see the main function has moved first. Immediately after the function declaration, you see the main function and the definition of the function add, that is written after the main. So this is the main function. So this is written first and then you have written the add function. So this is written next. So when you write in this order, the definition function is written later. This is mandatory. This is a must. That is, the function has to be declared mandatorily. So this is the type 2 function that you have. The last category, this is not very prominently used. The first two are very important. It is before main and after main. This is one more way how the function can be implemented. This is used generally when the function is very large. What we do is we store it in a separate file. So here the function body is placed in one file and the main program with function prototypes in another file. For example, let us create a function file called as add.h to the for the following function that is defined for this function. See, that is, you can see here int addition, int x comma int y. So this is one function. So this function is written now in a separate file, that is nothing but add.h. See the extension here, the extension is h. So int addition, int x, int y, just the definition. Int s, one variable we are taking, and s is equal to sum x plus y. So the sum of x and y are stored in s, and then we will return the value of s. So return s. So remember, this function is defined now in a file called as add.h. So once you define this function in add.h file, so next we will create one more file called as addition.c. So you can write any function here, any name here. So let us create one more C file called as addition.c. So in this we are writing only the main function. So the function that is defined in add.h file has to be included here. So what we do? So first we write the header file #include stdio.h, that is the link section. Following that we write #include add.h. So why we are including the add.h? Because the add.h file has the function addition. So the header file which includes the function definition is nothing but add.h here. So that has to be included here in the program. So in void, the rest of the part of the function will remain as it is. There is no change, except only in the beginning of the function we need to write a #include add.h. So add.h file contains the function definition for the addition function. So the remaining parts will be same. Void main int n1 n2 sum. So instead of a and b you can take any variable x comma y, n1 comma n2, num1 comma num2, so that's left to you, and sum. So enter the values of n1 and n2. So let us read the value of n1 and n2. Scanf percentage d ampersand n1 ampersand n2. So we are reading the values of two numbers here. Then we will call the sum function. Sum is equal to addition of n1 comma n2. So now where is this function addition? It's not here in this program, whereas it is in add.h header file. Then we will print, once the sum is the result is returned by the function, we will display the result. So printf sum is equal to percentage d backslash n sum. So students, I hope this is clear to you. So we have three types of function functions based on the location. One is defining before the main. If you define the function before the main, then declaration is optional. The second one is defining the function after main. So in this case, declaration is must before the main. And third one is you are defining the function in a separate file. So in the program that where you are calling the function, you need to include that file. So these are the three categories. So next we have different categories of function, that is types of function based on parameters and return values. So you know what are parameters? That is nothing but the data required by the function to execute, and the return values, the type of value the function is returning. So based on these two, there are different categories of the function. So these are the categories: function with no arguments and no return value. This is a function which does not take any parameter and it does not return a value. The second one is function with the arguments. It takes arguments but it does not return a value. And the third one is function with no arguments and return value. That is, the function, it does not take any argument but it returns a value. And the last one is function with the arguments and return value. That means this function takes both argument as well as it returns value. So these are the four categories of functions that we have, and this will be discussed in the next session. Thank you students for watching this.